Hey, everybody, welcome to Bucks Live. My name is Rick Hughes, and with me is the evil overlord, my friend, the dazzling Dave. How you doing, Dave?
I don't discuss client business.
Awesome. We got lots to cover for you tonight. Happy Halloween. We got all kinds of goodies to cover with you tonight. We got a special guest, Zach Johnson. Um, I'll tell you about that in a little bit. We've got all the normal shenanigans. What's cooking in the South? We've got Don't Be a Baby. We've got the meme grinder and a brand new segment coming for you. I think you'll like it. I'm a little scared of Dave, though, right now.
Don't be a
Are
baby.
you ready? Get ready.
Get ready. It's time for Bucs Live.
Wait a minute. Bucs Live.
Bucs Live.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers talk with Rick Hughes and David Whitecarver.
This is
Bucs Live.
Let's Go.
Let's go. We've got lots to talk about. The horrors of last week, what's in front of us, which is what we usually really get into. I'm excited about this. I really am excited about the show tonight. I'm a little scared of this guy over here, but I'm
Why?
well, he's a numbers.
Why?
He's a bean counter. He's a numbers guy. It's a little scary. It's usually scary, but this time it looks scary for us.
I like
Anyway.
to shoot.
How you doing tonight, Dave?
I'm doing swimmingly. How are you doing, Rick?
I'm doing good. I am doing good. We've had our crying fits. We've had our panic. We've gone through all of that. As you put it, we've sort of had to readjust our expectations for the season. We now know we're in a dogfight, and it's a lot happened this last week that will determine, or it has determined sort of the direction of things. It's last week's game was horrendous. The Buccaneers almost came back on Thursday night against Buffalo. It wasn't that close again. The Buccaneers looked bad again. Somehow they were in the game at the end. Again, sounds like the Falcons game, doesn't it? They actually almost could have won on a ridiculous, crazy, whatever you want to call it, play at the end, where if Chris Godwin had turned around just a little bit sooner, we may have had a Hail Mary touchdown win. Dave, what are your
You
thoughts?
had
about the
Buffalo
Thursday game?
Bills falling like bowling pins. It was amazing. And then there's Chris Godwin like, oh, it was right by me.
Well, they were falling and tackling, and they were assaulting Kate Otten. It was what a crazy ending to the game. There's a lot to talk about. I want to get into some things here. I really want to talk about something that I don't know if Bucs fans feel is a good thing or a bad thing, or I don't know what Bucs fans are feeling, but I want to talk about the 7.5-minute drive in the fourth quarter that brought the Bucs within a score. I want to talk about that because to me, it's one of the worst signs. When you take over with 9 minutes left and 9.5 minutes left, whatever, and you go on a 7.5-minute drive, you don't know how to run a 2-minute offense. If this team cannot run a 2-minute offense, they're screwed. The whole idea was keep it close, win at the end. You got to be able to do that win at the end part. And
I mean, they were doing the Buffalo Bills job and they were shortening the game on themselves. Makes no sense.
A lot. Right. They shortened the game a lot. 7.5
And when you're
minutes on that
behind,
drive.
that's kind of counterintuitive to what you really want to do.
Yeah, when you're behind by that much, that's a problem. I mean, when you're behind and can't catch up, that's a problem. I am concerned that the Bucs don't have another gear. They just they can't pick it up when they need to. There is no gear for them to pick. There's no when they need to score quickly, they can't. Also, that 7.5 minute drive, while you might look at it and say that's awesome, that's great, it was aided by two very key penalties by the Buffalo Bills. That's a problem. You can't put yourself in that position. I mean, they basically the Bucs failed on 4th down twice, but the Bills bailed them out with penalties. That there's a lot of problems. The trade deadline has come and gone. No moves were made. I'm not sure that there were any. Jason Light's not one who makes a whole lot of moves in situations like this. But I mean, it makes me wonder. By the way, hello, Christopher Cole. How you doing, brother? Dave, I am very concerned about this team. I mean, I think, you're a numbers guy, you're a charts and a graph guy, you're all that. It feels to me this team is trailing off, is going down on the chart, on the graph. This doesn't feel good. I mean, what are your thoughts? How do you see it?
Well, with the Buffalo game, it's kind of what you would expect based on the whole body of work that the Bucs had done going into that game. Buffalo's a better football team than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they were at home and they did what they needed to do. They took care of business. The Bucs, I never felt really were in the game per se. They were chasing the game, and this is what they are. It's not like I'm happy about it, but as I said previously, that I got overexcited about the Saints game. It's like rivalry game. The Saints hadn't given up 20 points in 11, 12 games, and here we do put 26 on them. Oh boy, our offense is good, and so is our defense. And look, we just whipped New Orleans.
I think this is
that was an outlier. That's not where this team is offensively, and you kind of got what you expected out of the Buffalo game. The Bills were going to win. The Bucs made some plays, kept it kind of close. But I mean, the only upside I'm seeing from the offense is that hopefully with time and repetition that you're going to have the quarterback. He's going to get some long balls going before too long. That's what you hope for.
Yeah, Baker. I don't think
Baker Mayfield's going to get some long balls going because he's just off, but hopefully with time that'll improve. But there's no guarantee with that. But I mean, the Bucs played kind of like I expected them to play.
Well, Baker, I don't think is the problem. I'm just not sure that he's a solution. I see him as being, he's not screwing up, but I don't see him as being necessarily an ability to win a game. And by the way, I don't think Kyle Trask is either. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm not sure that the solution is on the team at the moment. I like Baker. I do like Baker. And I find him to be, I mean, everything about the guy is likable. You want him to do well, but it just feels like we're not there. It's not happening. And is it the offensive scheme? I don't know. When they do finally get people open, he's missed some guys.
There's an average quarterback and an average offense. Maybe probably below average because they can't run the football very well.
I think he's better than average in a below average scheme. But when
you should be getting with Otten, Evans, and Godwin, you should be getting more out more production from your offense than what you're getting.
Well,
Even if you can't run the football, you should be able to scheme these people open and get a lot more yardage and points than what they're getting.
well, that's our my very good favorite friend, in this whole thing.
But again, still would love to just be able to run the ball with consistency and do that. And maybe that's me just being able to call more of those runs in different situations.
I mean, it's terrifying to me. Now, listen, Rashad White, hopefully we've heard the last complaining about Rashad White. Hopefully people realized, okay, we used him a little bit differently. We did some different things, and you saw how he beat out Leonard Fournette last year. The problem with our running backs, it doesn't matter who you get in there, with the interior line as bad as it is, nobody's going to be able to score. All right. No, I mean, nobody's going to be able to run the ball. I don't care who you put back there. Everybody who's crying, trade for Derrick Henry or whatever. It's not going to happen. Listen, first of all, we can't afford to go get anybody like that. And even if we got them, nobody can run the ball behind this line. All right. The interior of the line is bad. It's not kind of bad. It's very bad. And that's a problem. I'm not sure how to navigate around it. I'm not sure there's a solution when it comes to that for this year. Now, I will say Aaron Stinney seemed to do a much better job than Matt Filer at left guard. That was an improvement. But Hainsey is doing a terrible job at center. He's been bad. And Cody Mock at right guard is every bit the rookie that he is, and he's not looking good. And this team, I mean, if they lose to Houston this week, it's a mess. It's a bad year. And I mean, you can start to you're past the panic button. Now you're just into, all right, season's not going to, we're not going to do it this year. And that's that. I mean, this is that big of a game. This is a huge game. Do you agree?
Oh, yeah. They need to. Well, the Falcons was a huge game, and that didn't turn out very well. So This doubles up as it being an important game if your goal is to win your division and to make a little hay in the playoffs. But that it doesn't. I'm not getting the sense that that's going to happen. And I think they're going to have their hands full when they go to Houston.
They've got to win 2 out of the next 3 games. Now, listen, I think Houston has been playing sort of above their head. I don't believe Houston is as good maybe as sometimes it's appeared. I think that's a little bit smoke and mirrors. I don't think Houston is as good as maybe the press that they're getting. We'll have to see what happens. I do think CJ Stroud is the best of the rookie quarterbacks, but I just don't think that this team is ready to really give I think the Bucs are going to win. I think this is going to be another one of those games like the New Orleans games where they're going to look better and everybody's going to, go a little too far in the opposite direction because I think this team is worse than you realize and people are going to read into it a little too much. But what do I know? Those are my initial thoughts. By the way, I got to ask you what you have for dinner.
To be determined. I've been handing out Halloween candy to the neighborhood kids.
What did you steal the most of?
My neighbor next door had big boy candy for the older kids, of which I went over and got Reese's peanut butter cups.
Very nice. You know what that brings me to? Brings me to what's cooking in the South. So the way this works, what's cooking in the South, it's a little bit of food, it's a little bit of football, a little bit of fun. First thing we talk about is the food because it's my favorite thing to talk about. And
It's
this
better
week,
than the football.
this week, this week, I'm going to talk about the top 3 Halloween candies. What I think are the top 3 Halloween candies. Now, for number 3, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the obvious candy corn. It has to be in there. It just has to. If it's not in there, it's wrong. It's just wrong. Every Halloween
Boo.
it's there, even if you don't like
Boo.
it. Even if you don't
Do they
like it,
still make that stuff?
of course they do. And it always, what creeped me out is it always looked like teeth to me. That always kind of creeped me out. It looked like weird, I don't know, weird teeth. Number 2 is Snickers. Snickers is number 2 because, Snickers is just, if you get a Snickers bar, it's like, oh, I got a good one. Because everybody gets those little packs with the Hershey's and Special Dark and Mr. Crackle or whatever, Mr. Good Bar, sorry, and Crackle or whatever those bars are. Those little mini candy bar thingies. Everybody gets those. So, I mean, those are they're always there so that when you get a Snickers, it's like, ooh, I got a Snickers. And they're awesome. They're caramely and nutty and nougaty. And they satisfy. Snickers satisfies. But number 1, Dave, and I think we got to agree because you just brought it up. It just is Reese's. They are number 1. It's the number 1 Halloween candy anywhere. It really is.
They're the champ. Undisputed.
It is undisputed. It's not close. Sorry, not sorry. It is what it is. So anyway, Reese's is number 1. Now let's get into the NFC South and see what's cooking in the South. Thank you, Atlanta Falcons, for laying an egg after beating the Buccaneers. That was a big thing for us. Dave, what do you think?
I was surprised. I thought the Falcons. I think this is going to be the way the NFC South is. Just when you think somebody has control or is a favorite, they're going to fall flat on their face because that's what the Falcons did against the Titans, even though it was in Tennessee. I was surprised. I thought the Falcons were going to get some wind beneath their wings, and that didn't happen.
Nice.
And Desmond Ritter got benched, so
yeah, he fumbled again.
You think we got quarterback problems?
Yeah, he fumbled twice. Again, he fumbled twice. I think that's like 6 on this season or something. It's terrible. He's been doing awful. But yeah, it to me, that's the worst. I think the worst part of all of this is where we have to just rely on everybody else sucking. Which brings up the New Orleans Saints, who decided not to. For once, they decided to win a game, critical game against the Colts, and they jumped us in the by virtue of the bye week. They have a half game. They played 1 game more than us. They jumped us, so them and the Falcons are now tied in first place with 4 wins. And then you have the Panthers. What the heck was that? What?
Well, I told you, and I got some chuckles, and I wasn't necessarily meaning in the NFC South, but don't figure on the Panthers being dead last. They're already out of dead last, believe it or not. Sometimes these young teams, they gel a little bit at the end of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers do.
Oh, you mean not dead last in the NFL?
Yeah, I'm talking about. Don't be surprised if they're not dead last in the NFL. That they're going to.
Okay.
Win. I would expect them to win. I wouldn't say expect. I wouldn't be surprised if they win some games at the end of the year. Show a little bit of promise.
I think they'll win 4 or 5 over the whole season,
which is a big ask.
Improvement over what you were. Yeah, where they were.
But they aren't going to be getting worse. They should only be getting better.
Yeah. I think I agree with that. I mean, the NFC South is a fustercluck. It really is. I think that they are every team. It's a matter of, it makes me think of the Falcons continually getting to the 1 yard line and then fumbling. That's what I see out of this whole division all year long. You're there, you're there, you're there. Oops. And somebody's gonna end up winning this division by default. I don't.
And get a home play. They'll probably get a home playoff game and be an underdog.
I would guess that they will. I mean that
because you got 7 teams in the playoffs
sure.
these days,
and they're going to play the top wild card, and do the math on that. I mean, it's San Francisco or Seattle. I mean, that's who you're probably going to end up.
Dallas. It's not going to end well.
Right. You can figure that's trouble. But I hate it when people are blaming. You've heard me talk about this a lot. I hate blame. I hate crying about stuff. Crying about announcers not giving you respect, crying about officials, whatever, turns you into acting like a baby, maybe? Is that? Don't be a baby.
Come on, to the hip hop, the hip it to the hip hop, and you don't stop the rock it to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the.
Did not expect at this point in the season that I would be dissing one of the crown jewels as far as a organization goes in the National Football League. The Pittsburgh Steelers did not, let's put it this way. On a number of fronts, they were very baby-like. Normally, you don't see that from the Pittsburgh Steelers. They played the Jacksonville Jaguars, got beat pretty good, I thought. But Jacksonville, let's just say they weren't the babies in the group. The Pittsburgh Steelers were. Earlier in the week, somebody asked Trevor Lawrence, hey, what do you think about those terrible towels? And he was like, yeah, those are those little towels that they wave around, right? Well, one William Cower had to take offense to it because he used the term little and terrible towels and started in with, don't disrespect the towels, don't this, don't that. And as far as I'm concerned, Trevor Lawrence is a pretty stand-up guy. And he's not exactly known for dishing out bulletin board material, but the coach already was setting the stage for what happened on Sunday. And what happened on Sunday afterwards was Deontay Johnson. Let me give you some of the quotes from Mr. Johnson in referring to the referees. They were calling stupid stuff. They should get fined for calling terrible stuff. That's how pissed I am. I don't care what anyone says. It, meaning the referees, cost us the game. I didn't like the refs today. And this would be the NFL's favorite comment towards their refs. They must have got paid good or something, but they blew that field goal and they hurt us. Come on, Deontay, really? Let me throw some statistics out at you. The team with the most first downs in the first quarter so far this year is the Baltimore Ravens with 48. The fewest, the Pittsburgh Steelers with 9. The Steelers are the only team in the NFL with less than 10 first downs in the first quarter. Their offense has scored only 7 first quarter points as well. Perhaps that contributed to the butt kicking that you got. In addition, you were 3 for 12 on third down plays against the Jaguars. In addition to that, you were 0 for 2 for fourth downs. To me, that maybe should be a little bit more of the focus than crying and whining like a baby. Don't be a baby. Quit whining around the refs. Say a little something that, hey, we got a few bad calls, but we got to play better on offense. That sounds a whole lot better than whining like a baby that Bill Cowher started with the terrible towels earlier in the week. It was not a good look for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I've got family that are diehard Steeler fans, and I feel bad for them, not because of the loss, but because they were whining like babies. Steeler Nation, don't be babies. You're better than that. You're on mute. Rick, you're on mute.
Whoops. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So if the Steelers are if the Steelers are whining, something unusual happened because they usually are the ones who benefit from being a favorite. Listen, we usually do a segment here about the stupid things that Bucs fans say. We're gonna do something a little bit different. We're gonna we have a guest that I'm gonna bring in. Zach Johnson. Zach did something this week that I think deserves to be noted. All right, and Zach has I invited him to come on. He's taken a few minutes of his time to be here with us. I appreciate that. Zach did something noteworthy, and that's Zach put up a post that is one of my favorite posts that I think I've seen. Let me bring Zach in. How you doing, Zach?
Good. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Great. What a beautiful room you have there.
Thank
Very
you.
impressive.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that is awesome. So, Zach, first of all, how long have you been a Bucs fan?
Since the early 90s.
Okay. So some time. So you've
Right.
been through the ups, you've been through the downs, you've seen a lot of bad and a little bit of good.
Yep.
Long periods of depression followed by very brief periods of extreme joy. That's the best way to describe being a Bucs fan, I guess. You put up a post before, and I want you to hang around if you're willing to while we kind of laugh about some stupid thing Bucs fans say. But I want to talk first about what you said. What caught my attention, why you're here, is this is a beautiful post, and I want to talk about it. All right, Zach. Zach said, "Look, I'm a fan. I'm gonna say dumb shit and have stupid takes on plays. I'm not an expert. It isn't my job to be an expert. The shit I say is out of frustration because I think even though we may not agree on what the issues are, we can agree this team is better than the performance we have seen thus far. I love a team that just wants to punch me in the dick, and I keep loving them. The pain is real, but never makes me love the love lesson. It's a Bucs life. Go Bucs."
Well said.
Dude, props.
Appreciate it.
I mean, seriously, props. I read it and I was like, oh man, why can't all these other idiots be reasonable like you were? Talk to me about what you were thinking when you typed that out.
Well, Buck's Twitter is wild, right? There's some there's some stuff out there every week that you just kind of shake your head at, right? So I just thought it would be nice for somebody to put something in the universe that really kind of puts it into perspective what it's like being a Bucs fan. And I think what we have been seeing on Twitter is these are a lot of the New England Bucs fans that came with Brady, so they don't know what the history of this team is and what it was like to truly be a fan back in some of the dark days when we were 2-14 and
Right.
7-11, and we were looking forward to the draft in September. It's just you got to realign your expectations and understand. We're going to see. We've seen some things as Buck fans, right? So this is really kind of par for the course. And if you put it into perspective, we're one game out of the division lead, right? So I don't really know what expectations the fans have, but just today, it's kind of funny that you have me on the show today for things Bucks fans say when it's kind of like a holiday for you guys today, right? The trade deadline.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of material to go through, but like last week, everybody was, after the Bills loss, was like, well, let's just trade Mike Evans. Let's just trade Devin White. Let's just trade all these people and rebuild. And then today, when nothing happened, they're like, well, we should fire Jason Light because he didn't do anything. It's you can't have it both ways. We can't fire sell last week and then, go put all the chips on the table this week.
Right. And I promise you, if we did trade Mike Evans or we did trade somebody, there would be this massive group of people who for the next 3 years would still talk about it. I mean, we still have Jameis Winston comments come up from time to time. I mean,
Should have kept him.
I mean, 15 minutes after we won the Super Bowl, somebody posted, we would have scored more in this game if Jameis was our quarterback. I mean, that is what it is. But
There would have been more points on the board, but the opponents would have had the bulk of them.
yeah, but I mean, what you said was bringing a reason like into a food fight, and that's how I felt. And I thought you deserved props for what you said because there's so much crap out there for somebody to pipe in with a reason. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't read all the comments afterwards, all the responses, but you probably caught some grief. I don't know. Anytime you put anything reasonable out there, like you said, Bucs Twitter is and Bucs Facebook, some of the Facebook groups, it gets absolutely crazy. And I will tell you, we make fun of the idiots around here. We have a good time with it. And are you willing to hang here for a minute while we do a little bit of that?
Sure, absolutely.
All right. Well, after a very thoughtful and very downright brilliant thing that one Bucs fan said, it's time to get to
Stupid Bucs fans say.
Hey, as usual, no shortage. You guys made this as easy as you always do. Let's start with Mike Evans can walk. He's pure garbage for not putting an effort in any games. Thank you, Bob Kakis. This is the kind of crap that Zach was talking about that you see on Bucs Twitter and in the Bucs Facebook groups. Sometimes people get a little weird, and this is a guy, I'm going to catch grief for this, I think, from some folks, because I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. But sometimes you have super fans, and they're more interested in, I'm just going to say this, themselves than the team. They go to the games to count how many times they can get on the Jumbotron. Some of these guys, it gets a little weird, and you do stupid stuff and take yourself more seriously than maybe the rest of us do. And I'm going to go ahead and call one of you out, and I'm probably going to catch grief for this, but Jamie Lindsay, what are you doing? I like what you said. We're still champs till someone takes it from us. But dude, that wasn't Halloween you did that. That wasn't Halloween. Come on, man. I mean, I get it. There's a point. Look, you want to collect the belt, the championship belt there. That's fine. That's good. I'm not sure about the lay. That's a little weird. But you get the little championship belt and you get some Dave's got a Levante David signed jersey. I mean, I get having the memorabilia. I get having the stuff. But come on, man. Taking your shirt off and putting a lay around you and getting on. Come on. Have some, I don't know. All right. Here's Light is the one that needs to be fired. When was the last good draft? Not individual player, but draft. Not to mention the cap hell we came into this year. The cap hell brought us a Super Bowl, idiots. Okay?
Two straight division championships and a Super Bowl.
Right. The Super Bowl the other year. Right.
They've never won back-to-back division titles ever until the last 2 years.
Now you're saying Jason Light should go.
Well, I think he drafted potential all pros and maybe Hall of Famers and worse than Winfield in 2020.
And so far so good looking on the draft this year. I mean, Yaya Diaby looks great. Oh crap. I just lost his name.
Kalijah Cansey.
Thank you. Holy cow. Sorry. I'm old. When's the last good draft Jason Light had? I'm going to challenge you and say, when's the last bad draft he had? And when you sit there and say, and in a post like this, when you say, not individual player, but draft. When's the last time he had a bad draft? Not individual player, but bad draft. I mean, come on. Jason Light is one of the best things that has ever happened to this organization. All right. Oscar Edward Bush. Mike Evans isn't going to get 1,000 yards this year. Now, we happen to have a numbers guy here with us, and I already see him clicking away. I'm guaranteeing you he's already checking those numbers and, checking to see. Dave, I know you're not going to be able to probably do the math quickly enough on what pace he's on, but he's over at 500
He's on pace
yards.
to do 1,231 yards. He has 507 now after 7 games. So he's on pace for 1,231 if he continues what he's done so far this year.
It is really good to have a numbers guy on here.
Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, you guys never come up short. And last but not least, all Tampa has to do is quit signing these veterans like Baker Mayfield and Ryan Fitzpatrick and start over with a rookie quarterback.
That's worked out.
Trammell. Yes, thank you. Talk to me, Zach. You're going where I was going to do it. Go ahead.
Had such great success with that. So most of our Super Bowls have come from these veteran quarterbacks. So I'll take that one formula any day.
Yeah, remember that first Super Bowl and that rookie Brad Johnson was quarterback?
Yeah, whoops, maybe not, right? Listen, this is the stuff that drives me nuts. I mean, that's probably a Jameis guy right there. Or it's for sure a Trask guy, if nothing else. I mean, it's awful. It drives me nuts. I just think we deserve better and more thoughtful comments like we got from Zach. And Zach, I wish you could hold a class on class.
A master class,
class
on for
class.
Social media.
Yeah, and here's how to.
By Dr. Zach.
Yeah. So, Zach, tell me, you got a lot of memorabilia there. Tell me about what you do.
With this, or
yeah.
I started collecting mini helmets, and then it just kind of grew from there. And now everything down here is game worn, and I just enjoy collecting and the spirit of collecting. So, been doing it for the game worn stuff for probably about 3.5 years.
Well, it's awesome. It's amazing, and what you brought to. I'm dead serious, man. What you brought to Twitter that day, it was like, I mean, I get so frustrated. You can ask Dave. I get so frustrated, when I'm reading through Twitter or reading through the comments, and it just drives me nuts. That's part of why I make fun of it here, is because it's like bringing a little bit of levity to something that just aggravates the heck out of me. And to see what you wrote. And I want to bring it back up here because everybody take notes. He admits he's going to say some dumb stuff. He admits he's not an expert. And he admits he's frustrated because he thinks we should be better. But then he ends it with what? Go Bucs. It's a Bucs life. Instead of just fire Jason Light, get rid of Mike Evans, he's a bum. Get rid of, all of this, just everybody posturing on social media, acting like you are an expert. And
well, this happened with Tom Brady being here and winning a Super Bowl. It's like, what is it going to take for you people to enjoy football? Because it's almost like people are void of any type of enjoyment of it.
Yeah.
It's like, who's going to lose their job next? Whose fault is this?
Who can we
for this
blame?
Game? Well, the other team puts on shoulder pads. They practice hard too. Sometimes they play pretty well.
Yeah, and Dave, you and I said the phrase over and over during the 3 Brady years. We kept saying these are the golden years. You should be enjoying this. If you're not happy now, you're never gonna be. But the truth of the matter is, I think when we lose, there is a large group of people who call themselves fans that are happier when we lose. And to prove it, you can look at the viewers on shows like this. The viewers go up. The commentary, the interaction goes up when we lose.
Well, they can
Um,
get more interaction off negativity, right? Negativity is always more popular than positivity.
drives me nuts from fans. It didn't used to be that way when I was growing up, at least not that I remember. But
I
I
mean,
don't know.
think about it from this perspective. Probably one of the low points of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise, and I'm going back, I've been at this for a while, was when Vincent Bo Jackson was expected to be the number one pick, and Bo Jackson saw, oh, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have the number one pick. Hey, Tampa, if you draft me, I'm not playing for you. So what did the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do? They drafted him, and guess what? He refused to play for them. Take that, and then fast forward, and we had arguably the greatest quarterback of all time, the quarterback who has more Super Bowl Lombardi trophies than any franchise just by himself. And he goes, I want to come play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you're not happy with that? You're not elated? You're not on cloud nine for at least 2 or 3 weeks, maybe? I don't understand.
Should be 2 or 3 years. I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
Zach,
I
I don't want to tie
much.
you up any longer. Man, I would love to have you come back from time to time if you're willing to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, be as much of a regular as you would like to be. We can talk every week. Please keep in touch with me. I'll do the same. But I
Yeah,
want to thank you for coming by.
There's probably a good chance you'll catch one of the dumb ones that I put out every once in a while too. So,
And we may use it. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's how it goes.
that's how it
I
goes.
Wear
called
it as a
myself
badge
out.
of honor, okay?
For what it's worth, last week, the first thing I did was talk about myself with this, with stupidity coming out of my mouth. So
Yeah, I try to adopt the 24-hour rule, right? I try not to live tweet during the games. It's just it never.
That's a very good rule.
While they'll slip through. It's usually about officiating. I don't really try to attack the players too much, just because if I could do it, I'd be on the field and not on the couch. So I don't to criticize what they're doing out there. But I always knew I'd have to answer for my tweets at some point, but I never thought it would be in a positive light. So it's
well, I do appreciate what you wrote. Thank you very much for coming by.
awesome. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Have a great night, Zach.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you.
Awesome. I really like that. Zach is he's a man among you guys out there. Let me tell you that. I wish there were more like him
An
out there.
authentic Buck fan with some sense.
Yeah, with common sense. How about that? Anyway, let's move on to a brand new segment we have this week. A little bit exciting. It's called The Rundown. All right, the rundown is just very simple. We're going to go across the league. We're going to give you a rundown of the league in general, not the NFC South. We already covered that. So let's talk about the AFC East. I mean, the Dolphins for sure just look like the class in that in that group. But let me tell you something that I want to bring up, and I'm going to bring up the Jets. I want to give props to the Jets, and I believe that the Jets have gotten their act together without Aaron Rodgers, have figured it out how to function without Aaron Rodgers. And let me tell you something. I think the Jets may be, I'm going to say this, the Jets may be better than the Bills at this point. I mean, they're only one game behind the Bills, and it's been a complete upheaval with that organization, but props to them for what they've done. So props to the Jets. The Patriots suck. I love that. I want to say it again. The Patriots suck. I just want to mention it one more time. The Patriots suck. Dave, any thoughts about the AFC East?
Patriots suck.
All right, the AFC North. Baltimore is the class of the division. Baltimore maybe class of the AFC. I said that. Baltimore looks really, really good this year. They look like they're putting it all together. Pittsburgh is their usual good self, but not good enough to be championship caliber, not that kind of good.
I failed to mention that the Pittsburgh Steelers offense is averaging 16 points a game.
Wow.
16.
That's less than the Bucs. That's less than the Bucs, guys. Cleveland looks up and down, but Cleveland always looks up and down. Cincinnati, it looks like maybe they're coming around.
Oh, that's not a maybe to it. They've won 3 in a row, and they
Yeah.
just thrashed the Niners in California.
Well, the Niners are on a 3-game losing streak. That's what we'll get to that in just a second. Jacksonville looks like they're for real. They're just, that division is theirs. They practically already.
Well, the refs gave the game to the Jaguars.
Yeah, they've practically already clinched that division. That's how
the
bad
refs
the
were
rest of the
paid,
division
and they
is.
gave them the game.
Houston, like I said, Houston's 3-4, and I don't think they're as good as their record shows. Tennessee is 3-4. They are as good as their record shows. Indianapolis was 3-5. They're just a discombobulated mess. They lost to the Falcons. Kansas City is not Kansas City.
No. I
don't
mentioned
know.
that a couple weeks back. They're just they still have Kelsey, but what else?
Yeah, I mean, that loss to Denver. What? They lost to Denver. Now, I know it's a division team, and division games tend to get a little close and be a little, I don't know, things can get a little squirrely, but come on, man. Come on.
I think they beat the Broncos like 12 in a row, and
I feel
it's
like
a
the
minuscule
Chargers,
amount that Mahomes has ever lost to a division opponent. That's one of those. That's one of those that was unexpected and you kind of toss aside, but the Chiefs are not the Super Bowl caliber Chiefs that they were last year.
I feel like the Chargers lose every week, and somehow they're in second in their division. I don't know how that happens. They're obviously not going to take the division. Kansas City's almost got that wrapped up already. But the Chargers, I don't know. The Chargers are like the Cowboys of the AFC. They're the team that everybody every year says, oh, this is it. This is the year. They've got, they look really good on paper, and they just always disappoint. So Vegas is bad. Denver's bad, but I feel like Sean Payton is starting to do what Sean Payton does, and the team is getting better. They've won 3. I don't remember what they won last year, but they probably practically equaled or bettered what they did last year. So, I mean, they're on the way up. Denver's doing well. God, I hate Sean Payton. Haven't mentioned New England sucks. To the NFC East, Philadelphia, whatever. Dallas is second, and the rest of the division is worse than the Buccaneers. So, I mean, it's Philly is the class of the division right now, the class of the NFC. Philly just seems destined this year to at least be in the NFC Championship game. Then you never know what happens. Dallas is good, but just finds ways to collapse and blow it and lose games that they shouldn't lose, and you can just count on Dallas.
Dallas is kind of great against average or less than average teams, but when they play the heavyweights, they don't fare very well.
Correct. All right, the NFC North, Detroit's by far the best team in the NFC North. Minnesota got themselves on a roll. I think they lost their first 4 games and then went on a 4-game win streak. But they lost Kirk Cousins. What do you do? I mean,
they picked up Joshua Dobbs from the Cardinals, so that's your quarterback right there.
All the rumors about
Jameis
was going to go to Minnesota. I'll be honest with you. I was hoping that would have happened because I must say this. Everybody simmer down, calm down. I would like to be able to root for Jameis. I'd like for Jameis to go somewhere and for me to be able to root for him and hope he does well. He's a weirdo, but he's a likable weirdo. I just hate the Saints, and New England sucks. Carolina's terrible. Whatever. All right, Chicago, whatever. Who cares? I don't care about Chicago and Green Bay. They're not worth talking about. Seattle is worth talking about.
You're not feeling the love in Green Bay?
Seattle is worth talking about. Dave, Why is Seattle so good?
Because Pete Carroll is a very underrated coach.
That is correct. That is correct. San Francisco has lost 3 in a row. The style of football they play, you can't maintain throughout a season. The Rams they're average and the Cardinals suck. And that is
But Kyler Murray's been cleared to play. Does that make a difference?
no. That is this week's rundown. All right, let's move forward. What time we got? We got a few more minutes here. We got enough time for the meme grinder in just a minute, but we'll get to that in a minute. That's how we'll close out the show. What I do want to do is get into the Houston game in some detail and in some depth. I want to talk about the fact that I think that this game is set up for the Buccaneers. I really do. I think now last time I said this, we were playing the Falcons and we see how that worked out. But I honestly believe that Houston is not as good as what their record has shown. I've gone back. I've learned some stuff. I've listened to some folks. I've done my due diligence, and I believe that Houston is playing above their heads. This is the kind of thing where it's like, sometimes a team is not as good as their record shows. Sometimes the team is worse. This is a team that I think, look, they're better than they were, and they're on what we were talking about, the graphs and where you're on the chart, they're on their way up, but
they're a bit bipolar. I mean, they went to Jacksonville and won 37-17, and then they come and lay an egg 15-13 loss at the Carolina. I mean, it's a young team. It's going to be it's going to be inconsistent play that you get out of Houston just by the nature of the makeup of their team.
Well, I agree with that. I don't think that they are. Look, let me say this. You talked about how every year a team lays a stinker out there. There's one game that you can't explain. That was the game for Jacksonville. Okay. That's not on Houston. Houston didn't do anything that was spectacular. Jacksonville just sucked. And if I'm right, that game may have even been in Europe. I don't remember. But I think it's possible. I think that game might have been in Europe. Anyway, I think Houston's they're not as good as the Falcons. Not saying the Falcons are great. So that tells you what I think about Houston, and I think the Buccaneers will win this game. I think we'll win it comfortably. I feel good about that. I mean, I don't know what you're thinking, Dave, but I'm going to say 10-point victory.
Well, I think the defense needs to put pressure on CJ Stroud early, and if you do, you tend to have rookie quarterbacks that make mistakes. So I hope that they come out with a lot of pressure and make him make plays, and I think that would be to the Bucs' advantage.
Well, that's what the defensive line needs to do. And let me say this. Let me say the player that I'm most disappointed with this year. The player that I think needed to step up this year, contract year, big deal, is Devin White. And Devin White has been horrible against the run. He hasn't been bad. He's been horrible against the run. And, I mean, listen, I do not want them to re-sign Devin White next year if it comes to that, because he's not worth what he's asking for. He is just not worth it.
Was there anything to the...
By the way, Zach, I got to say this. Zach, you're in the comment section right now, and I forgot to ask you a very critical question. What'd you have for dinner? Please type it in the comment section. It was great having you on, and would love to have you back. And I'm not sure how to pronounce. Am I supposed to know what pelagic means? Or no? Is that a word I'm supposed to know what that means? But pelagic computer. Yes, it says, I'll say it again. Zach is elite. Zach, you are elite. And thank you for saying that. Pelagic and Pewter. And if I'm saying your name wrong, sorry.
Pelagic is related to the open sea.
Okay. Okay.
It's an adjective.
They're like thoughtful people. They're like Zach coming through with intelligent tweets. Pelagic and Pewter coming out with an intelligent name. What's going on? What's up with these people tonight? Make us look up dictionary words and stuff. We're not smart enough for that on this show. Only when JC Allen comes by. But anyway, Dave, your overall thoughts for this week. What's going to happen?
I think it's going to be more of the same. I'm not nearly as confident as you are. It is in Houston, though we seem to play well better on the road.
Yeah.
I think the Bucs will eke out a win, and the defense will play well and will put pressure on C.J. Stroud. And I think that'll be the difference in the game. It'll be a late turnover, but you're probably going to see more of the same. It's going if Carolina and Texas was 15-13, I'll say Bucs 20, Texas 13.
More of the same. I think Dave Canales?
No quick fixes for where we're headed. Just a lot of the same.
Yikes. All right, I'm going to say 27-17. But I guess we will see. Let's finish this thing out with a little bit of fun. Because the season's lacked fun. Let's have some. All right, it's time for the meme grinder. What's the meme grinder? The meme grinder is just a collection of stupid memes. They don't necessarily apply to anything. They may be poignant, probably not. They may have some sort of connection to whatever, probably not. It's just stuff I thought was funny. Let's go out with a smile. All right. First of all, I wonder if Mexicans ever say, let's go to white people restaurants. It's a good question. I mean, what would they eat? What would they eat? What would white people restaurant food be? It's got to be like bland, just, nothing toast. Yeah, toast. I think that would be a white people restaurant. All right. Hey Siri, why don't my relationships work out? This is Alexa. I thought that was pretty awesome. I like that one. All right, next. Cows are friends, not food. Name one cow you're friends with. PETA responded with your mom. That is maybe the only thing I've ever liked from PETA ever. Was their smart aleck response. It was beautiful. Your mom. All right. Next. No, you make me a sandwich. How about a salad, sweetie? Oh, yes, I'm going there. That's a food thing, It's a food thing. All right, a horse goes into a bar and orders a pint. The bartender says, you're in here pretty often. Do you think you might be an alcoholic? The horse says, I don't think I am, and promptly vanishes from existence. See, this was a joke about Descartes' famous line of philosophy. I think, therefore I am. But if I had explained that before the rest of the joke, it would have been putting Descartes before the horse. Awesome.
Descartes.
We're getting smart today.
You see what you did there.
I didn't do it, but whoever did it. Sylvester Stallone wanted a new dog. His wife wouldn't let him get a new dog. Sylvester Stallone buys a new dog. His wife filed for divorce. Stallone covered the tattoo portrait of his wife with a new tattoo of his dog. That's That's why Stallone's the man. All right. When you're doing good on your diet, but pizza be like, hey, baby. I said, Alexa, what do women want? The thing that thing hasn't shut up for days. All right, look at this. This is hilarious to me. Think about how old you are. Wow. Gives you a whole different vibe, a whole different memory of when you think of how old those people were back when you were watching those shows. Yikes. All right, well, there's no circle thingy with a slash through it, so I guess this is okay. So there's no Ghostbuster sign that says don't do this, so telling you to do this. This sign, by the way, is at Gatorland in Orlando. That's terrifying. Okay, why did my mom make me think it was illegal to turn a light on in the car while you were driving my whole childhood? I want to know the answer to that. Why were we told it's illegal? You know? When your body is perfectly in tune with nature. just let that soak in. That's awesome. All right. And a Diet Coke, please.
Don't forget the Diet Coke.
I love this. I love this. I love this. What scares you most? Werewolves. What scares you most? Sharks. What scares you the most? The unstoppable marching of time that's slowly guiding us all towards inevitable death. Dylan. What scares you most? Dylan. And last but not least, the real reason evolution started. Don't walk away when I'm talking to you. All right. Anyhow, that's one way to end the show, huh, Dave?
Yes, sir.
All right, Bucs fans. Bucs fans, everybody, let's cheer up. Let's have a more positive attitude. Maybe learn a little bit from Zach and do that little 24-hour deal where you don't post after a loss. Let's go into this game ready to have fun. Watch our team. Hope we win. Enjoy football instead of just whining and crying all the time. What do you say? Let's have a good time watching football. Let's just really have a good time. What do you think, Dave?
Absolutely.
All right. Got anything you want to add?
Yeah, let's enjoy this weekend. Let's enjoy the Houston-Tampa Bay game. I think the Bucs are going to win, and I believe they'll be climbing back into a tie for first place or close to it. And this is going to be a fun horse race. How about that?
You think they're going to tie? Who do the Falcons and play, and who do the Saints play to see if they can crawl back in? I believe this week. Let me pull it up here just so I'm not saying something stupid, which as usual, the Saints are playing the Bears.
The Falcons are hosting the Vikings.
Yeah, okay. So we probably won't be tied after this week. Maybe one of them will lose. But like you said, the NFC East, it's one of those things where, NFC South is one of those things where you're just teams are going to lose some games like this. So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. And the Saints and the Bears. Well, it's probably a win for the Saints, but you never know.
You never know. The Bears have been playing better since Fields is out. That's interesting. All right, guys, just so you know where to find us, we are here per usual on 102.9 FM, The Game, Broad Street South Radio. We are on Sports Talk Florida. We are on Bucs Report. And we are on Bucs Live, all the different outlets. I want to thank you guys for being here. The way we end the show is the way we should end the show. Every week it should be like this. How do you end it? You end it with Go Bucs. Go Bucs. Go Bucs.
Are you ready?
We sucked today. I sucked today. We sucked today. It was awful.